collect things. I don't have a lot of anything. I have some of many things because I like to make connections. So I decided we would take a look at Mercury because we live in Rochester and that's an appropriate thing to do. And he's on metals and money and more. So when I finish, if you'd like, you can come up. I just have kind of a random display of things that are his. And some of the things you'll see on the PowerPoint and other things are just a little bit different. Or I don't have permission to use them on a PowerPoint and I won't do anything without written permission. It's a teacher thing. It'll never go away. All right, Mercury is one of our old friends, and we have him downtown. His parents were Jupiter and Maya, and Jupiter seemed to have this thing for women, all of them. So one day, he and Maya, the goddess of the plains, got together in a cave, and Mercury came out of it 9 months later. So that worked out really well. Mercury is attributed to the lyra, which is that thing that our kids have on their wrist when they're playing in marching band, and it's holding their music. It's called a lyre. And it's on music stands very often, and it's a beautiful symbol. And he's also the person who gave it to Apollo, but that's because he stole Apollo's cows, and he had to make restitution somehow for the two he ate. And he gave Apollo the lyre as a gift, as an instrument. And Apollo thought it was so great and loved the music so much that he gave Mercury a caduceus back, which was a very nice thing. So he had the caduceus, which was a wand of reconciliation originally.
Isn't that the doctor symbol? Isn't that the doctor symbol?
That comes up. Yes, okay. That is a doctor symbol. When you see with the two snakes, actually that is a commercial medical care symbol. The doctor symbol should actually be the single staff with the single snake, and that goes to Aesculapius or Aescapulus, which is the son of Apollo, who is a doctor in charge of medicine too. But yes, we see it very commonly in our medical world, especially for the EMTs. That seems to be one of the most common places around here. All right, so that explains the third bullet. I can't be there. Can I shout? Can you hear me if I shout?
Yes. You got to do is loud and clear. Loud and clear.
I can be loud and clear?
You're loud and clear.
Without the microphone?
Well, no, but we've had complaints from people who have hearing devices that
can you still hear me?
They just don't hear people.
You can't.
Not everybody can.
Can you hear me?
You just can't stand up.
No, please use, please use the mic.
All right, stand back there and just tell me when you
come to you. I'll point to you. How's that?
Don't stand in front.
Hang on.
Tell me when.
Hang on.
I'll just take a step that way. Okay, wait a minute. He's making an adjustment. What are we doing?
If we put this,
On the floor.
I need
Put it on the floor,
somebody
pointing
lift up
that
the
way.
table and take this.
Put it on the floor pointing towards John.
No, just put it on the table and it'll be fine. As long as the microphone is behind the speaker.
Oh, it's behind. That's the secret. I put it over all the stuff. That's fine. Put it on the stuff. Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoops. Now I gotta go someplace. Let me go back here. All right.
Now let me get this microphone disentangled.
Okay, can I see here?
There you go.
Okay. Now I can really be out of the way too. Woohoo!
Yeah.
All right. That's even better. There we go. Okay. All right, so there's a picture, and this picture that you're looking at of Mercury, it's not on, turn it off. This picture that you're looking at of Mercury was taken in 2011 when they went up and did some maintenance on Mercury. And now that we have things like the little GoPro cameras and all the upper cameras, we get a real interesting group of shots. The photographer was a man named Will Plant, and the picture can be found on rochestersubway.com. It's a blog that a historian, local historian, works on, and you can spend hours going through it. It is really a delightful blog. And this is our Mercury. This is one of his little snake friends. You can. I like to pick the picture because the hand is in it, and you can see the size of the snake, and you can see the caduceus that it came from. It's the snake on the right-hand side. If we had one light off, can we do one light off, George? So they would be sharper?
We're here, George.
Where red switch, up high.
There, that might be, you might be able to see the snake in the different pictures. So in between the writing, I figured I would keep your interest by showing you these absolutely spectacular pictures that they took in 2011. So this is a slide with all kinds of words. Mercury, god of eloquence, commerce, rain, wind, patron of travelers, shepherds, cheats, and thieves. Commerce, cheats, and thieves. I thought that was a nice trio. Conductor of souls to Hades, conductor of dreams, god of games, prince of storytellers, and thought to have invented boxing and racing. And he was a protector of youth. And he was rather busy, don't you?
He did everything.
He did everything. He was a man for all seasons. See, it even says, rain and winds. He fit well. So, the Kimbo Mercury is the Mercury that really is our focus point. And that was designed by Guernsey Mitchell. And our Mercury weighs 700 pounds. It is 21 feet high. And it is riveted copper plates. And you'll see in some of the pictures I showed where the seams are in the riveting. It shows up really well against the green. And it was completed by the Sidon Company Foundry. And I don't have an address for that. But it was unveiled in January on the 19th of 1881. And it was at the corner of Court and Exchange. And it was placed 182 feet atop the Kimbo Tobacco Company. Did you know that the Kimbo Tobacco Company was in Rochester? They had a machine that cut cigarettes very exactly, precisely, and quickly. So it was quite a business. And it's not something that you'd ever think of for Rochester. It's just one of those fun facts about Rochester. The picture below is small. I couldn't bring it up any bigger without digitizing it and making it in all funny squares. But the stack in the back has Mercury on it. And I have a Ralph Avery print up here that you can take a look at afterwards. It's one of a series of 8. And you can see Mercury on top of the Kimbo Tobacco Factory, which is fun. Okay, we have Clemente, Peabody and Company acquired that factory in 1905, and it became linen shirt collars. The stays on the shirt collars came from there, and then it means that Mercury actually dominated the city for 70 years. Which is pretty cool. And those are, again, pictures from that 2011 cleaning. We see a lot of moons over Henrietta on our Mercury statue because he happens to be facing north. So he has a very nice form, and I didn't find the validation, but it is said that a steeple cleaner was the model. So to have his statue with his form up on top of the building, and until 1951 being the tallest structure in the city of Rochester, was really something special. And the colors on this photography is good. So what happened after the beginning was that the city acquired the closed building in the 1930s. And George Eastman comes up there because he helped the city acquire the building, and it became a library branch. So the factory was reused many times. It was used for all kinds of functions. Then it was demolished and cleared for the County War Memorial. So Mars beat Mercury. It's just that plain old mythological thing they have going for them. And
do you know anything about the maintenance of that statue?
what do you mean about the
regular upkeep of keeping, you know?
I didn't have any record of maintenance, and the last time they went up and checked it was 6 years ago, if you figure 2017. So they do have to go up and make sure that it can structurally stand.
And environmental damage and whatever.
You'll see some of that if you go to the Rochester subway.com. I didn't bring out any of the damage pictures, but there's corrosion in various places where there are little holes, and you can see around the back of his neck where the weather has weathered the copper, and it's all rusty looking. So they have had to go up and do some repairs on that. Okay, so it's demolished. It was stored in the Rochester Port Authority Charlotte warehouse, way in the back, because nobody knew what to do with it. What do you do with a statue that's 21 feet tall, laying down, taking 21 feet in your storage area? And how do you protect it? So it kind of hung around there for a long time until Thomas P. Ryan, mayor, and our friends from the Lawyers Co-op Publishing Company got together and decided it needed to come back out, and the city was going to be maintaining it in the future. And this was in 1971. And somehow there were protests about a naked man on this, on the top of a building. It was the 70s. All kinds of things happened. There are newspaper pictures that show protests. But the Lawyers Co-op became West Group, and the city of Rochester now maintains the statue. The Lawyers Co-op, when I was doing my original Mercury work, I met a man named Gus White, who was working for the Lawyers Co-op, and he gave me a book of Supreme Court records, and in that book and up here are pictures of the statue when it was brought down and what it looked like when it was going into the warehouse. Why it's in this book? I didn't read the whole book. It's really boring, except for page 133. Which had a lot of interest for me, but he gifted me with the book, and I was really pleased to see that. So here's some pictures from different angles. These are the things that Mercury sees up there, and how beautiful he looks.
Do you have the front
And-
angle? The front?
Pardon me?
The front.
Do I have the front? I have some fronts.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
and he is appropriate. He has his little leaf on. We're all good. I could show it in school. All right, and you'll notice he's missing a wing on his heel.
Fell off.
And we really have no tracking of when it fell off, how it fell off, whatever. It's just not there. I mean, he,
Obviously, no lawyers really know about it.
oh, yeah.
Was it there when they put it up?
Good question. I don't have a clear enough picture from the 1950s when they took photos of it to really tell, because the angles that they had kept the foot in the line, so you can't tell. So I don't have any information on that.
What is the earliest photograph of that?
Oh, good question. Don't have an answer for that too, because remember we were using really antique photography equipment, and the distance,
Well,
180
before they
feet.
put them up, maybe they took a picture somewhere.
I found pictures of them coming down, not really going up. They may be out there. The internet has a lot of wonderful things, but the picture that I was personally missing, I couldn't find on the internet, and it was published in the DNC.
Might be a Donovan Schilling question.
Oh, yes, that's right. Good question. But Mercury also shows up in medallions, and Jerry, I think you've got this one, beautiful copy of it. The opening of the Panama Canal. A real source of avenues for commerce is the Panama Canal. God of business, he's perfect. He fits so many different categories. And of course, in 1971, there he is. He's going to come up again now soon. So here he is in our centennial medal, and Jerry has that also, which is lovely. Here in the Coin Club, he's the Writers Award. There's our communication guy, eloquence and excellence. And when I saw this, I was reminded of one of my favorite pictures that I took of Mercury in the Vatican Museum. It's a very common pose, and it's used in a variety of ways. And there's probably 2 or 4 Mercuries in every room in the Vatican. It's really lovely. He has many different forms and lots of pictures. But it gives you a good look at the caduceus and the stylization of the caduceus. The Romans just copied the Greeks. They didn't do any really good original stuff, but they took the Greek statues and made their version of them very readily. So if you compare the two, you can see there's so many similarities, and there's always a real show of the body and the structure of the body, ribs, muscles, shoulders, the articulation of a hand is so beautiful in the art, both modern and ancient. So here's your 100th anniversary medal. The man's big. He shows up everywhere. And that reminds us of the FTD florist. Right? So he's giving us messages all the time. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. He's ready. And then here, we'll look at a few coins. And we have him in his coin. And in this coin, it goes back to, well, between 81 and 161. But I liked it because it had the caduceus, which is important. We have to show this to students. But it also has the SC, Senatus Consultus. So that means it is an authentic Roman coin. It had what it was supposed to have on to be authentic. And then we have Mercury on the right-hand side, on the obverse. It's not really clear, but boy, that Roman nose is right in there. You can never miss that. So he had to be a Roman. And then there are varieties, Antonianus of Gallianos. You'll see him very articulated in many things, and I think you've got, Jerry has several beautiful pictures of Mercury, and you can see that he is structurally a very well-developed male. He really is good-looking. There's his lyre, or lyra, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And it's appropriate for Eastman School of Music. He fits Rochester so well. The Image Center, the Kodak, the Bosch and Lam, the Document Center. He's just the perfect man for our city, old and new. And of course other countries pick these up, the French. And these are from 1922. There he sits, you see he's got his lyre beside him, he's got his caduceus. His hat is a little bit worn, but it'll show up a little better on some of the other Franks that we have. I think the third one is the best. Here's a nice one. It's, again, the beautiful manly body, the hero for the young athletes, and then music, and, of course, his caduceus. So he's a very versatile man. We all know about Mercury Dimes. They're all over the place. You know, and I think somebody in this club has had to do a Mercury Dime kind of thing. And this year again, the Mercury Dime, or 2016, the Mercury Dime came out in gold, which is really pretty. And you can see all of the things. All right, it's really Lady Liberty with a hat on, but it's a Mercury Dime. It works for our purposes very, very well. And we have used it as a club in 1985 as part of the celebration of the club for the coin show in 85. Beautifully set up again. And this was a picture, a photograph that was in the newspaper on September 29th, 1995. And that was our son's birthday on the year he graduated, so it made that date really easy to remember. But it's a beautiful picture of the rainbow, and you can see a nice side shot of Mercury. If you go in the parking garages, you get to see some nice pictures of Mercury. And the DNC made this their cover for their annual calendar for 1996. That's how beautiful the picture was, and how well received it was. And then fundraisers, Easter seals. For several years they did these little ornaments with all of the different structures in the city. In the year 2000 they made 2,000 of these ornaments, which you could purchase at a Hallmark shop, and that would subsidize the Easter Seals Foundation. So there he is again, hanging on the Christmas tree. Sparkly. He's really hard to photograph because of the shine quality. And it really is pretty on a Christmas tree in the lights. It's up here also. So I couldn't bring in Mercury, Ford Mercury. You know, I can't drive him downstairs and stuff. So that is the first logo, and you can see Mercury with his stylized winged hats. And then Mercury Records, there's his logo again. Those are stylized wings on the side. The planet and the element both share the same symbol. And then we have all of those word relatives. Merchants. Mercantiles. Fairport has a mercantile. I had a great picture, but I didn't get permission from Keith Boaz to put it up. But if you drive through Fairport and you're going north, just past the railroad tracks, there's a building with the Fairport Mercantile. You get all kinds of interesting gifts there. So there are so many different things that you can find that go with our guy, Mercury. Now I did write down, and I can send this to anyone, these are the sources that I used, and I have the exact address for the Rochester subway topics up close with Mercury, and there are many, many more pictures. They have individual wings from the feet and the hat. They've got the corrosion pictures where they're are real needs. There's one picture where you're really looking up his butt. You know, it really is a butt shot. You know, but you can see how beautifully the copper panels were curved to make the human body and riveted together. I mean, what an art, what a sculpture it is. It's magnificent. And they have a frontal shot too, and that's where you find out that he has his appropriate lead. So he's all good, he's all good. And they show his hands up close and his feet. And if you look, this picture will give you an idea that he really is balanced on one foot.
Is it his left leg that's missing the wing?
It is his right foot, the one that's kicked up.
He's got a bag of money in his hand.
And he has a bag of money in his hand. You better believe it, he's a merchant. He was a coin collector. As many coins as he could get for as many things as he could get. He was a coin collector. So this is a shot just above him, so this would be his view of the river. It's looking kind of green. Goes well with his bronze. It doesn't change colors. No, it doesn't. It is what it is. But these are some of the shots. I mean, I could do an hour on the pictures that this young man took. But that's our view of him. Yes, his money is good.
What was his vantage point again when he took that picture?
He was up on a crane for most of the pictures. He was on a crane, which it was very high up, and they had to bring it over so that they could almost be like right beside him and put their hands out. There are many pictures where you can see that he has his hand like by by Mercury's hand, and you can see the human hand is small, and the 21-foot Mercury's hand is very large. But all of the joints are articulated. It's very beautiful. Yes?